gamble of the universe. He loses his wife during her pregnancy. Then he goes through the trauma again.
How did the story evolve during the journey of your book writing?
To read more about leadership books and things like that. And it's killed my appetite for reading books. So, like, there's a famous quote, right? Like, fiction is closer to reality. So sometimes I'm writing like this, sometimes I'm writing like that. So I'm writing this book called Cost of Justice. It's about pharmaceutical fraud. You cannot manage to live through a life and not suffer. Love is like the single greatest medicine which is available to all of us.
Hi everyone. So today we are joined by someone who walks into different worlds, fast-paced corridor of corporate and quiet and reflective space of storytelling. So today we will be diving deep into his first book launch, Belts and Beaties, a story of stolen childhood. And we will be throughout the conversation we will be discussing about his personal journey. So welcome Devasish to our podcast. Could you please share a brief about your book, a small insight for our audience?
Very happy to be here. Like I said, like Somesh said, I'm Devashish, and Bells and Berries was the first book I wrote and published. I've written actually many books which reside in my desktop, uh, but they're in different stages of writing, right? Like some are more finished than others. So this was my first published book. I'm very proud of it, and hopefully, if you get a chance to read it, like you will also like it. The story is very it's a character fiction, which essentially means that the story moves through the characters rather than driven by a plot. And it's about Dhruv's journey. Start. It starts from the childhood, his childhood's trauma, the abuse he gets from his father, then how he recovers from it, how he falls in love, and then by the unfortunate or whatever you want to call it, um, gamble of the universe, he loses his wife during her pregnancy. Then he goes through the trauma again, the addiction, and recovers. So, so that's the journey of his survival, and that's the book is about essentially.
I think you already gave some spoilers to our audience instead to your book.
I am one of the people who do not believe in spoilers. Actually, I don't believe in spoilers. I really like. I have. There is no book I would have less enjoyed if I knew the ending or something like that. It's just like most of the book enjoyed are not good because of the shock value of some realization or something like that. It's more about how the character makes various choices in the journey, things like that. So for me, that is way more exciting and way more fulfilling than like, oh, this happened and I'm shocked to know that could happen. So like that. So for me, like, and then like I said, it's a character fiction, right? Like, so it's really not about like, oh, this particular thing happened to the character. It's more about like, oh, Dhruv feels like this in this particular moment and how he's going to respond to this feeling he is having right now. Those are the kind of things like
So Devashi is like talking about the story of the book that we just narrated. So how did the story evolve during the journey of your book writing? Because it's not like that one day you got one story and you just wrote it down. It should be like having evolved over time. So what was that journey you went through?
long before COVID, I was always writing stories, but it was short stories, poems, things like that. And short stories and poems are like, how do I say? It's a moment in time. Like you're trying to capture a moment in time. It's a snapshot. It's not a video, right? Like it's a picture of just that moment. So that's what you're trying to do in a short story or in a poem, right? And then at some point of time, I was like, oh, I need to read more about leadership books. Like it's a different thread altogether. But like I was like, I need to read more about leadership books and things like that. And it's killed my appetite for reading books. Instead of inspiring me, it just completely like made me like not read books or even write. Like if you start when I stopped reading books, I stopped writing as well, stories and all. And then Then COVID happened, and I had a lot of time on my hands. And at the time, I was reading this book uh, called Love in the Time of Cholera. And I was like, oh, this is a nice concept. Like in that story, right? Like the author explores how love happens in an epidemic, right? And we were going through an epidemic. So I was like, I will write a story about love in the time of COVID or pandemic, whatever, right? And that's where I thought I'll start. And it started from there and became completely something else, right? Like it's no more resembles. It's not about pandemic love anymore. So started from there, it went there, and like it has a whole journey of its own, and it has various iterations and stuff. The character of Dhruv also grew. Like it was initially more about, let's say, okay, I'll give you something, right? So I don't know, like during COVID, we were having a lot of video calls, right? And most of the time were spent on video calls and stuff. And I don't know if you noticed this, but like I had this feeling that some people are way more comfortable talking to you when you are talking to them over a Zoom call versus in person. If you meet them in person, you will be like, oh, like you will not realize how interesting they are and all those kind of things because they're not very articulate in person. And and like put them on a Zoom call and suddenly they are way more articulate, they are way more expressive and all. I was like, how does this happen? Why does this happen? Like why some people are like better uh over a Zoom call versus in person, right? And like when I dig through that, I read like it's like a trauma response when you can control your environment, when you can feel more at home, and when you can have sort of like an intimacy with escape route, meaning like at whatever moment you could like shut down your video or mute yourself, things like that. Like when you had all these controls, right? You just felt more of yourself. You could express way better, right? And it just triggered from there. Like it started like, oh, I have a character who is like that, who will be more expressive over a Zoom call than in person. Typically that person is quiet, does not share information, just sits in the background and like feels like he doesn't have an interesting life. And then suddenly um you meet that person over Zoom, that person is more expressive, lets you know your he's able to share information, he's able to share his life with you, and then you feel closer. So so those are the sort of like two threads from which the story started and sort of became what it is right now.
So, like, what inspired you to write such character? Like, was it a real experience or observation which you had, or maybe it was a just symbolic character which you wrote into the book?
So like there's a famous quote, right? Like fiction is closer to reality than sometimes. It's like that. Like, yes, I dreamt of that character. Yes, I made that character up. But like, I am sure you know many uh who have like a similar sort of life journey. Uh,
Yeah.
so I would say that yes, I made that character. Yes, it is not based on a particular person or something like that. But I have seen life enough to say that like there are elements of that in a lot of people, and so it came from there.
And also, since like in your book, you are touching this topic of childhood trauma and what are the some of the emotional consequences that we have in our adult life because of that. How do you maintain the authenticity of that to keep it as real as possible? Because in fiction, you can relate something to anything. That freedom is there, but how do you keep that authenticity in your stories?
That freedom is there, but like if you take that freedom, if you take that bait, your story will not feel real. Like if you take if you take an action of person and just give a shallow reasoning of why that person is doing like that, like sometimes like because of plot, like many times when you're writing story, right? Like you have a plot, you want to make things happen per the plot, right? And you don't build sufficient backstory or reasoning behind why that person acting that way. And I read not a lot now, but I used to read a lot. Like you will know instantly like, oh, this does not make says this does not feel right. This doesn't like it just feels out of whack. Like when you don't have a sufficient good reasoning of why your character is behaving in a particular reason, could be like the plot is driving that character to do something like that, but those stories do not feel good. So I knew for a fact that I'm not wanting to write that kind of a story. So I needed to have good reasoning of why that person is behaving in that manner.
Yeah, there is a psychological like dialogue as well in your book where the main character Dhruv is talking to a therapist. So how did you like create that scenario? Like, did you actually consulted a therapist or maybe like researched it on your own?
I did not talk to a therapist to be able to write it. Start there. I do not uh, necessarily mean to say that whatever the conversations were happening between the character and the between the two characters are like medically correct. I'm not saying that all. But the idea was like there are some things in my mind, right? Mental health is important. A lot of things we do and feel are because of our ongoing mental condition, right? And sometimes we need to take professional help. Like it's not just talking to your family and friends that you need stuff. Like the the trauma is big enough for you to go and consult the profession to take take some professional help, right? So and in this case, right, like in the Bruce journey, like it was serious trauma, and it needed somebody with the medical know-how to be able to provide that help to this person who was suffering, right? So that's why it happened, and and yeah.
So your book says belts and BDs. I mean, why those elements you have included in your book, like BD being a very niche thing that we have?
So Bells, right? Like Bells is how he got his physical abuse, right? Like so that's Derek T. And Beatties, right? Like so I'm not sure if you have been to like sort of like hinterland of Bihar or UP, but you will see that BDs are often more common than cigarettes. Sometimes it is cost, but sometimes it's the fact that it is way more available, like around you. And a lot of people are smoking up those BDs, right? And and that's why, like in the story, like if you read, like it talks about why. So it says also like cigarette was not just a cheap substitute for sorry, bidi was not just the cheap substitute for cigarette, right? Like one of course is the money, the fact that you can get bidis at a fraction of cost compared to cigarette, but also the fact that in that neighborhood where Dhruv is growing up, you will see a lot of people smoking up bidis.
And what made you choose a book name like your name as Rivan Mungeri, not Devashish Kumar? So I was just curious because I was reading that book and I know you and I thought that why Rivan Mungeri and why not Devashish?
So there are two threads of this answer. Okay, one is basically the name of the meaning of the name. So Rivan comes from Sanskrit word which basically means like river or something that flows, and Mungeri essentially means somebody from Munger. I'm from Munger, it's a small town in Bihar, and so that means like Rivan Mungeri, right? So that's where the name comes from, and I I want to be the kind of writers whose stories flow, and story should flow, right? And should take you somewhere, hopefully meaningful, but it should take you somewhere. And that's the kind of story I want to write. And that's how I got like Rivan. Mungeri, like I said, like being connected to my roots. Like this is where I grew up. This is where my majority of the experiences were shaped, right? So that's why Rivan Mungeri. And the other thread is that I am a big believer of cultivating multiple personalities. Like multiple identities, not personality. You have one personality, but like multiple identity, meaning I'm an engineer, right? Like by profession, I work in a multinational company. But at the same time, I'm also other things. I'm an author and stuff like Rivan Mungeri is the identity of that author.
Okay.
And I'm other things as well. So the having a separate identity gives me the creative freedom to sort of live that identity, sort of, which is somewhat distinct from my other identity. That's why I decided to write it under that pen name. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue like that. Always it is like that's like that was my choice at the time. Yeah.
So coming on to the personal front, like we have seen generally people relate suffering and pain to self-awareness. So what are your thoughts that is it always necessary that you should suffer or have pain, like feel pain to get this self-awareness?
The thing is like how do I say it? Suffering and pain. All of us go through that. It's not that like
Mm.
uh somebody can be like can grow up without having any suffering of all kinds. Even if you're rich or poor, doesn't matter. Like all of us have some kind of suffering. So it's not and it's just there everywhere. And we live through suffering. I think Buddhism believes that life itself is a suffering. So we will all have suffering. The point of the story or the point of any life is like whether can we overcome our suffering and make something good of ourselves, right? Like can we be a better version of ourselves than the person who just had a suffering, right? So so yeah. So like all of us are going through suffering and like you cannot live a life, a full life without having gone through an experience which was not great or where you have not suffered, right? Like all of us will have some kind of suffering and it's just up to us that we make something good out of that stuff.
और वो एक कहावत भी है ना हिंदी में कि लोहे को जितना तपाते हैं उतना ही ताकत बढ़ता है।
Like true, but like my what I'm trying to answer is that like you cannot manage to live through a life and not suffer. So all of us will suffer in some way or the other, some point or the other. And just that like if we bear in mind that it doesn't need to define us, we will get over that and probably make something good out of that, right?
Yeah, rightly said. Like in your book, you have this suffering as one of the elements, and there's this another element that you have inputted for the love angle. Like as you mentioned, like Joe and Priya, they were together, and the wife dies, and the patterns again emerge. So, how much role? Like, what is your personal perspective on how much role does love plays in someone's life to through go through that and grow through it?
Love is like the single greatest sort of like medicine which is available to all of us. If we feel loved, I am on I'm almost I can almost say 100% right. Like you will grow. So for me, like love is very healing, and even like in the story, like you will know that like even Dhruv says that like being with you is healing me in ways that I can't describe. Something to that effect, right? Like so, love is what heals us in a way, and 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 doesn't necessarily, by the way, it needs to be a romantic love. Right. Like it can be from your friends, families, or everything, right? Like so, but like once when you know, like when you belong, when you feel you're connected, and when you feel like you're loved, you're important to other people, that's when you are probably at peace versus at other times.
I have also seen with my personal experience कि जो books fictional होती है and your book is also a fictional book. So I am more like basically those are more relatable to me. जनरली जो सेल्फ हेल्प बुक्स होती है उन पे मैं इतना रिलेट नहीं कर पाता विच सेज कि यू डू दीज थिंग्स और ये सारी हैबिट्स है विच यू शुड कल्टीवेट इन स्पाइट ऑफ दोज बुक्स इफ कोई बुक होती है जिसमें स्टोरीज होती है एंड देन यू गिव मैसेज थ्रू दैट बुक that is more relatable to me. So for you as well, like, is it the same thing? That's why you started with a fictional genre, or
Think, like at the beginning of the podcast, I said right, like I was reading a lot of leadership books. Yeah, that's actually my appetite to read more books, right? Like the goal of lead. books is like to inspire you, right? Like it's just like it doesn't feel real. Like it doesn't feel you. Like when you read through some of those books, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't work at a human level. It like it feels like you're trying to lead an army of robots. That's what it feels like, and that's what most of the advice feels like to me, right? Like so. Definitely, like I also feel the same way. In fact, right now I have a strict ratio of like how many fiction book versus how many non-fiction books. Like I'll read self-help book once in a while, but like I will definitely make sure that I'm reading enough fiction book to keep me more grounded to make it more real. So yeah, not suggesting that you should not read self-help those kind of books, but like I like most people I've talked to, I feel like they've learned over time that they can't just keep reading self-help book. You cannot sustain life for yeah. You need to be like, okay, I'll read like 5 fiction book and I will throw in like a non-fiction book once in a while. So like that. Like I feel that's a better strategy for me as well as a lot of people I know versus like just reading self-help book all the time. And even in self-help, like that's true for fiction as well, but even in self-help, there are some well-written books versus not so well-written books. And the other thing is that like one of the things is like you're reading something, right? But it's not the right time to read that book. Meaning say that. I read Atomic Habits like at a really good time when I was thinking about what kind of habits I want to build and stuff like that. So that book really resonated with me at that point of time, and I was like, oh, I can take good suggestion after. But if you read like if your life and what the advice the book is giving is very incongruent to the life you're having at that time, like somehow it will not connect. But the thing with the story is that once you believe in that character, once you are with that character, right? That you remember that character. That's it. Like that character stays with you. Whatever the message the character was trying to give you may not exactly remain that way, but the character will stay with you because the story connects at a deeper level versus the suggestion and I think most of us will say that like we don't like people who are preachy, right? Like who are just giving you suggestions and thoughts, right? So it's like that. Like because of that, I feel like because story connects at a deeper level, and self-help book can often be preachy. We tend to more of us will probably have a better time reading a fiction book and absorbing message through that through rather than the self-help book.
Fictional books, sometimes we do have some moments where we find ourselves in those characters in some instances. And that's that point where we just connect and everything falls in our memory. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Like once you feel a deeper connection with that character, right? And
Yeah.
like it doesn't need to be like that character is just you. Like you need to find that little moment of connection with that character. Like when you will so once you feel that aha moment, that connection feeling, no, everything will make more sense and whatever that character is doing will make like give you a stronger message versus just anything.
So yeah, there she's. These were some of the questions we had for you. Maybe before ending the podcast, we have a rapid round as well. So you just have to answer it in one word.
You have
And
to be as fast as you can.
okay, so are you a morning or a night writer?
Neither.
Okay, nothing specific. Then next question: what is your favorite book or any author? Your favorite author or book?
Oh, I have too many favorite authors to say. As of right now, my favorite author is Frederick Bachman, who wrote A Man Called Oppo. I love that
Oh.
story, and if you have heard his interview, you will like him even more than the person who wrote that book.
Okay. Your favorite character in your book, Bells and Beaties?
True, of course, hero.
So, would you rather write a deeply emotional scene or a suspense thriller?
Right, the former always like. I like emotions are like what I want to write about. Like it's always about
Mhm.
emotion.
Would you like to receive a feedback from renowned critic or rather a passionate reader?
That's a good question. I probably enjoy feedback from a passionate reader.
Okay. Your favorite writing snack?
I don't snack while I'm writing. Yeah, like snacking is one of the things I don't get like why people have this craving. I know a lot of people have this craving of snacking,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't have that. So I am
Okay.
somewhat blessed in that way.
Most bizarre place you have ever written in?
Oh no, I write from the comfort of my home. So I write in weird positions, but I don't necessarily write in weird places. So sometimes I'm writing like this, sometimes I'm writing like that. Sometimes I'm just trying to dictate to a microphone what I'm thinking about. So I
Yeah.
do all those weird shit, but like not necessarily I've written anything in bizarre places.
So Devashish, before ending this podcast, any upcoming books that you have that you want to talk through?
Yes. So I'm writing this book called Cost of Justice. Uh, it's about pharmaceutical fraud, and
Mhm.
it's the story of three women, Vanya, Anvesha, and Anjali, comes together and do some brilliant things. So as of right now, that's what I'm trying to finish. It's in beta reading stage. So if one of you like to be the beta reader, one of the beta readers of the book, I would love to get some feedback, and hopefully it'll help me polish the
Mm.
story a little better.
Sure, sure. Looking forward to your book then.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Devashish. It was nice meeting you. We'll
Yeah.
see you and excited and looking forward for your next book.
Thank you for joining, Devashish.
Thanks.
It was a lot of fun for me as well. I had a good time, and it was good to tell my story and Bruce's stories to him as well. Podcast. So thank you for having me. And I hope to see myself again here when I'm talking about my second book.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure, definitely.